Hey guys, well it's November the 9th, I think, and winter is fast approaching here in upstate New York. We've already had a little bit of snow. So, unfortunately, it's time for me to put the bug into storage for the winter. I'm sure you folks on the West Coast and in the warmer climates are laughing at me right now, but winter around here lasts maybe 6 months, realistically. So, I want nothing to happen to my bug, so I'm going to properly store the bug. I'm going to explain how I do it. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but I did this last year and it worked great for me. So let me tell you how I put my bug into quote-unquote long-term storage. First thing I did to prep the car for storage, one was to change the oil as well as the strainer. You want to put the car into storage with fresh oil in it, so any acidity that might have built up in used oil doesn't do any damage to your engine while it's sitting idle for however long it's going to be sitting for. I also filled the gas tank with non-ethanol fuel, and I also added gasoline stabilizer to it, so for the next 6 months or so that this is going to be in storage, the fuel will not go bad. I've also inflated the tires to 40 psi. The rating on these tires, maximum rating is 45. And so I've inflated it to 40 to give the tires a little room to expand and contract as the temperature changes. And the reason I've done that is because I don't have the ability to store this car on jack stands over the winter. So to prevent the tires from developing a flat spot, I've inflated them to make them firmer so that they don't, again, develop a flat spot. Something else I'm also doing, as you can see in my garage, is I've added these mats to the floor. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to be storing the car in a car bag, and because the floor of my garage is, well, shit, very bumpy, I don't want driving the car into the bag on a ready concrete floor to cut a hole in the bottom of the bag. So I put these mats here to soften it so that the bag doesn't get damaged. Also, I'm sure that having a little bit of mat underneath the tires will, again, help prevent them from going flat or developing a flat spot over the winter. It definitely helped last year when I did this. So a car bag is exactly what it sounds like. You can see I've driven the car into the garage, and I've laid out the bag. Basically, it's zippered on 3 sides, and you basically just drive it onto the bottom, and then lift the top over the car, and then zipper it all the way around, and the car is sealed inside the bag. I did wash the car previously. I did not have time to wax it. I should say I didn't have time to wax it, but because this is a fresh paint job, I didn't want to put a coat of wax on it yet. I'll do that in the spring. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the battery out, and that's going to sit on a trickle charger over the winter so it doesn't go bad. And then I'm going to cover the car with some sheets to help protect the paint, and then we'll be putting it in the car bag. Alright, so I've covered the car up with some old sheets held on with magnets that will prevent the car bag from scratching the paint when I bag it up once and for all. And the windows I left open an inch, the driver's and passenger side windows. The reason for that is because we will be adding desiccant to the bag before we seal it up, and having the windows open will help keep the inside of the car nice and dry over the winter. I also added a little wiffle golf ball to the antenna to prevent the antenna from poking through the top of the car bag when we install it. So I've started zipping up the bag, and it just goes around 3 sides, and then the bag is sealed, or the car is sealed inside the bag for the winter. But before we seal it up completely, we need to add desiccant. The bag came with many pouches of desiccant that, for reasons I won't explain, got thrown out over the summer. So I have purchased 8 pounds of bulk silica gel and a bunch of cloth bags. I'm going to fill these bags with gel, and I'm going to put them, per the manufacturer's instructions, under the car. And the reason we cracked the windows open was so that the moisture from the car could be drawn out over the winter and get absorbed into the desiccant. And come spring, when I take the desiccant out of the bag, it will have turned from orange to white, and then I'll be able to put it in the oven next autumn and warm it up a little bit, and it will remove the moisture from it, turn it back orange. I'll refill the bags and reuse them again. So let's get these filled up, under the car, and then we can seal up the bag for the winter. Okay, I've got my bags of desiccant ready. I'm going to put them under the car per the manufacturer of the car bag. Their instructions say put them under the car, not in the car. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to finish zipping up my bug and storing it for the winter. This breaks my heart, guys, seriously. But it's winter here. The car needs protection. I'll explain in a minute when I sum everything up. All right, my peeps. She's sealed up, ready for her winter sleep. So let's review what we did to prepare for this unfortunate moment. So well in advance, we washed the car, got it all nice and clean, and gave enough time to thoroughly dry. We changed the oil in it. We inflated the tires to 40 psi so they won't develop bald spots over the winter. I did undercoat the car with fluid film, primarily, even though it's in a bag. It's just added protection, especially in this garage with this very thin old concrete floor. A lot of moisture comes out through it, and I do not want the bottom of this car to rust in any way, so the fluid film is cheap insurance. So we drove in to the garage, inside the car bag. We covered the car with sheets, held on with magnets. We put a ball on the end of the antenna so that the antenna wouldn't poke a hole in the car bag. We added desiccant bags underneath the car. We opened the windows a little bit so that the inside will be kept dry during the winter. We took the battery out, and we'll be putting that on a trickle charger over the winter. And then we sealed her up, and that's it, guys. I hate doing this, but this is upstate New York, man, and this car's a survivor. It is 52 years old. Began its life in Germany, came over on a boat to California, was towed across country, and all that time she's held up. She's nearly original, and she deserves to live another day. So this may seem a little over the top for some folks, but not for me and not for this bug. So maybe you learned something from this video. I hope you did. If you did, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.